So, what does it actually look like when a video game literally takes over an entire city? Today, we're diving deep into the Pokémon GO Wild Area event in Nagasaki. And trust me, this was way more than just a bunch of gamers getting together. This was a massive social experiment that turned a whole city into a living, breathing festival.
You know, this one quote from a local vlogger pretty much says it all. The event was so magnetic, so fun, it was pulling people back in who hadn't played the game in ages. It wasn't about the daily grind, it was about the experience.
So that's the big question, right? How in the world did this happen? We're going to unpack the 5 key ingredients that explain how this event became such a massive success, blending tech, culture, and community in a way nobody had really seen before.
Okay, here's our game plan. First, we'll see how the city itself became the festival. Then, how Pokemon meshed with ancient traditions. We'll look at the genius layout that turned the game into a perfect city tour, how it brought the community back together, and finally, what all this means for the future of cities.
All right, first things first. The organizers knew they couldn't just have an event in Nagasaki. No, for this to really work, they had to make the entire city the main stage.
People on the ground were saying this phrase over and over, mechakucha hito ga oi. It basically means there's an insane number of people here. And they weren't kidding. The streets, the parks, everything was just flooded with people, all there for the same reason.
And to put that into perspective, someone in Chinatown said it was as crowded as the Lantern Festival. Now, the Lantern Festival is Nagasaki's single biggest traditional event. It's a huge deal. For a video game event to even be in the same league, that's just wow.
And the vibe they created was just incredible. Everywhere you looked, you saw a sea of people wearing Pikachu and Dendryu hats, creating this instant visual identity. You had the game's music pumping through key areas, a giant Pikachu balloon watching over a park, and even the main train station clock got a Pokémon GO makeover. It was an active, shared public party.
But here's where it gets really clever. This wasn't just about creating a fun atmosphere. The second key to success was this brilliant move to fuse a global digital brand with Nagasaki's very specific, very unique local culture. So, to really appreciate what they did, you need to know about something called Jayadori, the dragon dance. It's not just any performance, it's a huge piece of Nagasaki's cultural soul, a powerful tradition at the heart of their festivals. And this led to the absolute showstopper of the entire event, the Rayquaza Dragon Dance. They took the legendary dragon Pokemon, Rayquaza, and brought it to life as a traditional Jakadori dragon. The live performance was the seamless, beautiful blend of modern gaming mythology and centuries of local heritage.
And this was so much more than a cool performance. It was an absolutely genius strategic move. For Pokémon GO, it gave the brand real cultural weight. For Nagasaki, it was a chance to show off its most cherished tradition to a huge global and younger audience, making their heritage feel fresh and relevant. A total win-win.
Okay, our third big discovery is all about the physical layout of the event. Now, Nagasaki is a city of hills, which you'd think would make things tricky, but the way they designed the game turned that potential challenge into one of the best parts of the experience. Get this, the main event route was almost 7 kilometers long, so we're not talking about just camping out in one park. This was designed to get you moving, to get you physically exploring the heart of the city. They were so smart about it. The major event venues were placed along what was basically a golden route of Nagasaki's most famous sites. You'd start at the new stadium, and the game would naturally lead you past the train station, through the historic Dejima area in Chinatown, across the famous Spectacles Bridge, and right to the History Museum. And that's the genius of it. The optimal strategy to play the game was also the best possible walking tour of the city. It made exploring on foot the most fun and efficient way to do everything. You weren't just catching Pokemon, you were soaking in Nagasaki's unique mix of Japanese, Chinese, and Western cultures without even thinking about it. And all of this leads us to our fourth discovery, which, honestly, might be the most powerful one. It's about the incredible impact the event had on the player community itself. It was a massive reminder that nothing beats a real-world connection. Let's go back to that quote from the beginning. Why did retired players come back? It wasn't for a new feature or a rare character. They came back for the social spectacle, the incredible energy of being in a crowd, sharing that moment with thousands of other people. For those 3 days, the game was more than an app. It was a reason for people to connect. It gave strangers, kids, parents, grandparents a common language and a shared purpose. The phone screen was just the excuse to look up and share a smile with the person next to you. You know, for any game that's been around for a while, this is such a huge lesson. A fantastic real-world event can do more to re-energize your community than almost any digital update. People walk away with a shared physical memory, and that's something that really sticks. So when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway here? This was so much more than just a good weekend for a video game. It was really a glimpse into how we might interact with our cities in the future. We should really look at what happened in Nagasaki as a successful proof of concept. It proved that you can use technology like augmented reality to weave together a city's cultural history with its economic life and create an experience that's totally new and incredibly powerful.
When it comes down to it, the whole thing worked because of 4 key pillars. Festival, making the entire city the playground. Fusion, blending the digital world with deep-rooted tradition. Tourism, designing the game to be the ultimate city tour. And community, using the spectacle to forge real human connections. And that leaves us with this one last, really interesting question to think about. Nagasaki proved that a game can guide us, teach us about culture, and connect us with each other better than any old map or guidebook. So what if this is the new model? What if the future of how we explore our world is just a little more playful?